hit record this time. Oops. Hello and welcome to Derp Derp and Friends Reviews. I'm Derp Derp.
I am Ski Nerd.
And today we're reviewing the Dresden Files episodes 3 and 4.
That's right. So episode 2 was alright. It's only about the Egyptian thing. Yeah, that's right. That was actually a really good episode. I like that one. But episode 3 is a little different. Starts off with a man being clawed to death, and there's a dead body, but they actually find a woman who's dead. And part of her hair was taken, and some of her teeth were taken. And the police are like, "This is weird. This is real weird. Okay, this is super weird." And the victim's roommate was there. Her name was, what was her name? Karen, I think it was. Her name was Karen. Um, and she's all like crying and weeping and be like, "Oh my God, my roommate is here," and she kind of Murphy's asking her questions like, what happened. They went to a bar and she got into a fight with some woman, and then she felt weird, so she left, and she went on a date with this guy, and she never came to the apartment. It was all she went to him, and now she's dead. And so they're like, okay, cool. Sweet. And then we are introduced to Butters. He is the, was it coroner?
Yep.
The coroner um, at the police station. And we know this is Butters. They don't say his name. But if you look in like the IMDb cast, it is Butters. He's in there for like 8 seconds. But he is wearing a shirt that says "I love Polka," and he does love Polka. And what was that line? It was like, Polka will...
Polka will never die.
Polka will never die. That's it. He didn't say much. I hope they do something with him, but they probably won't. Anyways, then all of a sudden this woman comes in and she's like, "Hey, I gotta take over this case. I'm the FBI. We've been searching for these killings. They're all the same MO, hair taken and teeth taken, so I'm taking over the case. You need to give me that file, blah, blah, blah." Her name is Mina Watkins.
Detective Braskin.
Watkins.
I thought it was Braskin.
That's the other guy.
No, that's the guy. That's the girl.
Nope, it's Mina Watkins. And the guy's name that they did later, where did I put that? Like, died of silver here first of case. Because we don't see him until a little later. Hold on. Special Agent Zachary Bushnell was the other guy. I mean, you can look at the IMDb.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
That's
Braskin.
that's what it said on the Prime thing. It was Watkins, Mina Watkins. Anyways, FBI Mina Watkins. I could be wrong. Well, that's what I wrote down. FBI agent Mina Watkins takes over the case, and then Harry goes and takes a look at like the blood that's in the crime scene, and he takes Bob with him. So he takes a literal skull with him. Lieutenant Connie Murphy. Hold on, we're getting justification.
And that's one change right there.
Yeah, Connie Murphy.
It's Karen Murphy.
Yep, supposed to be Karen. Where is she? What the hell? She should be like towards the top of this episode.
It didn't bring me to the episode specifically.
Oh, you can type in that episode specifically.
I tried and it brought.
Hold on, folks. We've got some technical difficulties. While we're waiting, Jake is going to sing a tune.
No.
do, 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 do. Hold on.
Dresden. Raskin. Kelly Raskin.
Kelly Raskin? Oh, then who's Mina Watkins? So that was like the first one that appeared on the screen. I got her name wrong. Yeah, it is Raskin. All right. Hold on, folks.
Mina is the dead girl.
Oh, that's why she was on first, because she died first. All right, Special Agent Kelly Raskin. There we go. All right, correction made. I am completely wrong. I take full responsibility, and you can stone me later. All right, so it's FBI agent Kelly Raskin. She takes over the case. Then it cuts to Harry Dresden and Bob outside, which is really, really weird. And what Bob does is he touches something that's bloody, or dried blood, and he manifests himself as that person. So he does that, and then he touches the other blood stain where the girl died to see what she looks like, and it was a wolf, basically, that popped out. So there's some random dude and a wolf, and they're super confused because why is there a wolf here? Well, the person was a wolf. Anyways, which is very mysterious. Ooh, let's see what happens. All right. They discover that it's a lycanthrope, which is kind of, if you don't know what it is, it's kind of like a werewolf, but it's different. Because in the Dresden books, there's multiple kinds of werewolf stuff.
Yep. We'll get to that at the end of
he'll explain
episode cover.
He'll explain it. Derp will. Anyways, we're super professional, I know. She also died by silver. There was like bits of silver like in her bloodstream, which is really weird. And Harry, Detective Raskin found out that Harry was a wizard. And she's talking to Murphy like, why do you have a wizard on the case? This is weird. They're all kooky. Get him off the case. So he's pushed off the case, which is pretty great. He's happy about that. However, he does interview the roommate at the police station. And Murphy's like, oh, yeah, you can interview her. You might get, or Harry convinces Murphy that he might get more out of her because of his specialty, and they kind of had a he had a moment when she was like crying and stuff. He gave her a hanky, which is pretty cool. Pretty nice of him, huh? Anyways, he interviews her, and I kind of forget what happened in their interview, but he gets some information. But the main thing is that he held her hand, and later on we found out that he takes her ring. This is important later. Um, oh, she mentions that they. That's right. She mentions that they were at this bar called Kirby's Bar in South Bend, Indiana, and this is where her friend got into a fight, and she was talking to a man, and she wanted to leave, and or because she felt like she was being targeted or something. Really, really weird stuff. Um, and the dead girl,
Mina Watkins.
yeah, Mina Watkins, the dead girl, um, found out she was bitten, and he asked her about it. She's like, "Well, I thought it was like she got clawed with someone's nails," and he's like, "Well, could it have been a bite?" She's like, "I guess it could have. I mean, she was, she was had the flu-like symptoms, and she didn't get out of bed for a whole day, and then her wound just disappeared. It healed." And he was like, "Oh shit, she got bit." Um, so they go to Kirby's to kind of see what the place is like, and he has Harry has Karen, the she's the roommate, um, kind of look over this mirror, this circular mirror, and he's like, "I'm gonna hold on to your back, and I just need some of your energy. It's a weird thing, but you just need to hold on." And basically, what happens? He holds onto her back, and they're able to see in the mirror what was happening that night through her memories, kind of thing. And she notices who the woman that got in a fight with her friend was, and it was the FBI agent Raskins. And as soon as this happens, the FBI comes because they follow them to the bar, and they arrest Harry for they're like and this is where we're introduced to the other agent, Zachary Bushwell, and um, yeah, and he mentions um, oh yeah, and he mentions that oh, we found some silver bits in your apartment, and those are the same silver bits that was in the dead girl, so we're gonna arrest you, and you're gonna go to jail, blah blah blah. Um, he and Harry notices that this is the mystery man that Bob discovered touching the blood. I was like, oh, another FBI agent. Okay, well that's weird. Why was he all bloody and shit? Um, and then yeah, evidence playing on Dresden. Let's see. Oh, and then Harry was like, "Oh, I know who did it. It was this other FBI agent." And Murphy's like, "What did she say?" She said, "Do you have any evidence?" And he was like, "Oh, blood samples. Yeah, blood samples. We can get the blood samples and test them." And she's like, "Nope, the blood samples have disappeared." Oh, how convenient for the FBI agents who Harry now suspects. Okay, well that's great. Anyways, it cuts to Heather, and wait, who is Heather? Heather being caged. No, that was
Karen.
Karen. Why did I write Heather? Am I delusional? I'm being delusional. Who the hell is Heather? It was Karen that was being basically caged in a hotel room. Um, and
Wasn't Heather in the next episode?
it could have been. Yeah, well, I wrote it as the episode was going on. unless I went too far down. Heather. Why did I why did I change her name to Heather? Her name was Karen. Maybe Karen was the next episode. Maybe this was Heather. Wait, let me look. Hold on, folks. I'm being delusional. Yes, that is the next episode. I apologize. It is Heather. Her name is Heather, and she's a redhead, and she is in love with Harry Dresden. Okay, okay, don't mind me. We are amateurs, so shut up and let us do our crappy job, and you can judge us. Absolutely.
That's okay.
In the comments down below, you can judge us on how much we messed up.
If
It'll be
you
great.
want to edit all this crap out, you're hired.
No, leave it in. Leave it in. Okay. I think this was the symbol to cut it, but I want you to leave it in. Leave this shit in. This is important. Anyway, it creates backstory. I'm walking the light.
Or you can just do this.
No, don't do that. That'll piss him off. All right. Okay. Sorry. It's Heather. Her name is Heather, and she's caged in a motel. And she wakes up and she's like, "Oh, I don't feel so good. I feel weird." And she gets up and she has like a vision with her dead friend, and she's like, "You must trust Harry Dresden. Oh." And find Harry Dresden. He will protect you. He's the only one that can. La 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 la. And so she wakes up and she pounds on the door. She's like, "Help! Help me!" And then from behind, I don't know how she didn't notice the FBI agent who was in the room. Mr. Bushnell, FBI agent, um, brings a gun to her. She's like, "Oh, you need a cop, huh? Okay." And then he cuffs her and puts her on the bed again. And he's like, "Why are you doing this? Oh my god." Excuse me. Evidence, blood missing, Heather Cage. And then he and Raskin, the two FBI agents, are mentioned. They've almost reached the 9. So at the beginning of the episode, they said this is the 8th victim. And they were tracking this quote-unquote killer um, for a while. And so they almost reached the 9, and as Haskin, or no, not Haskin, Bushnell is um, guiding Heather through the woods, and they get to talking. They're like, "What do you mean on the 9? Why do you have to kill me?" She's like, "Just one more, and she can be herself again. Raskin can be herself again, meaning she won't be a
Lycanthrope.
lycanthrope." Yep. And then Heather gets hungry and gets stronger because now she's part lycanthrope. She's in the middle of transforming. And so she breaks her chains, punches him in the face, and runs away. Great. I think he's, after doing it 8 times, you think he'd know how to do it? Like, okay, what the hell happened there? So Harry's in jail, and he creates a duplicate of himself, and he escapes prison, so he unlocks the door. He escapes, leaves a pretty good still image of himself. So the agent Raskin's like, "Haha, I got you, and I'm gonna win. I'm gonna kill you. You're gonna be dead." And she touches him, and his image disappears. Um, so he goes back to his place, and then Heather goes back as he's talking to Bob, and they're like, "Oh my God, you survived! You survived too! Oh my God!" And they're obviously in love at this point. Heather gets hungry, and Harry's like, "I trust you. You're not going to do anything about it." And she's like, "No, I can't. I can't. It's too much." Because she's like, "There's food around me. You are food." She's telling Harry, like, "You're food. I want to eat you." Um, and Harry's like, "Ooh, dirty. You want to eat me? Well, I want to eat you too." No, they didn't do that. Anyways, so he grabs something in his house. He's like, I'm gonna either gonna bring his nose senses or his scent powers to 11. So he starts sniffing her hair, and for whatever reason, she doesn't bite him, which is probably a good thing. And he's like, "I'm gonna take your scent and trace it back to the motel room where the 2 FBI agents are at, right? Right, Derp?
Yep.
Yeah, all right. You can come in at any time. Goes to Centrail, and then right. I forget where they go, but it's kind of like an abandoned warehouse kind of thing, and we basically get the worst CGI fight ever. It is so bad. It is lycanthrope on lycanthrope violence with the shitty CGI from the aughts. If this was made today, the CGI would be much better and it would be much more watchable. But because it was made back then, it just looked bad. Just so bad.
This was the late 2000s.
Yeah, 2006, 2007, I think it was. Um, so they have this fight, and at the very end, Heather's trying to. She's. I think this was in Harry's place because she was behind a metal door. Yeah, so this was Harry's place, and he's like, "You need to stay in here. I'm gonna fight these two guys. You just stay in here. Don't do anything." But she um, opens the door and is turning. It looks like she's turning into a lycanthrope. However, um, another lycanthrope attacks FBI agent Raskins, and so she turns around at the last minute and slices her. And Harry's like, "Heather, no!" Because he thinks it's Heather, but it's actually the other FBI agent, Bushnell, and they're in love. We find out that they're in love, and this in killing 9 people was a way to reverse the spell of being a lycanthrope, and so they could live their life after killing these 9 people. Um,
9 of their blood.
yes.
Not just
So
9 random
so
people.
they have to bite someone, turn them into a lycanthrope, and then kill them, and steal their hair and sell their teeth, basically, to have the curse go away. However, he turns into the 9, and now she's just a regular mortal human. And well, now that happened, she gets to go to jail. Oh, what a twist of fate. Um, but at the end of the episode, Harry and Heather are basically making out, and he's like, "I don't want you to go. I want you to be here. I know you can do it." And she's like, "No, I have to do this on my own." He's like, "All right, you'll be fine as long as you keep taking this elixir. Let me know if you need more elixir." Um, and that's the end of the episode. Overall, I thought it was okay. It felt like everything. It felt like like a Matlock. I mean, Matlock's better, but it felt like a Matlock episode. If you look at the old Matlock TV shows, everything just kind of falls into place, and they don't really have to do much effort. It's just like, oh, I need to do this. Oh, here's my answer. Oh, I need to do this now. Oh, here's my answer. That's what it kind of felt like. It was too smooth. It didn't feel like they had really investigated anything. If you compare it to like TV now, where they have like 3 main storylines going, and it's just crazy and wacky. Thank you, Star Trek: The Next Generation, for starting that. That is amazing, and I love you. Anyways, so overall, yeah, it was just an okay episode. It was interesting to see the lycanthropes do their thing. However, according to the books, lycanthropes are a little different, and Durderp will gladly explain the
So,
4 different types of werewolf.
essentially, this was a retelling of Book 2, which is what I have currently on screen. Full Moon. Very badly done. Uh, there are 4 types of werewolves: lycanthropes, hexenwolfen, werewolves, and loup-garous. Lycanthropes don't ship change. They just have a wolf inside them, and they take the animalistic nature of the wolf. They don't never transform.
Okay, what do the Lugaroo do?
Those are your traditional werewolf, transform at full moon, nearly unstoppable,
And how
killing
what's the
machines.
difference between the Lugaroo and the werewolf then?
Werewolves can transform at any time using magic.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
And Hexenwolfen also transform by magic, but they need some. I can't think of the word.
Like outside help or something.
No, some like artifact to transform.
Oh,
Like in Full
like
Moon.
like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger.
Like
There we go. It's
like
Morphin time, and they have to have the little coin thing,
like in
and that's how they transform.
Full Moon.
Wow, I feel so enlightened,
And,
and I want if I play that, I'm gonna be a freaking Power Ranger. That's a wolfen. Yes.
and like in Full Moon, the Hexenwolfen that it introduces. I won't say who it is, because if whoever watches this then goes and reads the books.
No spoilers.
Uses belts to transform. Conduit. That's what I was trying to think of. They have to use
Oh.
a conduit to of magic to transform.
Like the Power Rangers. It was Morphin time.
And
Alright, cool. Was there anything else that was not by the book? I mean, we learned that
Murphy's name is Connie.
yes, in the books her name is Karen. Uh, so I don't know why they changed her name. It was fine. Like what the heck?
And I wish we would have seen more Butters. Butters is one of my favorite characters in the books.
Yeah, I just got introduced to Butters, so I'm still seeing what he can do. But so far, he's been doing a good job.
He has a lot more.
Yeah.
Later.
Let's see what else. Butters. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. So we'll go on to the next episode. Episode 4.
Which introduces probably one of the characters that's from the books that, in my opinion, was the most well done, well chosen actor for compared to the books. Morgan, the guy that played as him, did really well in my opinion.
Yeah, we should say that at the end.
Yep.
Yeah, I was surprised he was black though, because in the books it's like, oh, he's this super tall, like Norwegian guy with super long white hair.
Even in the comics, it depicts him as white.
Yeah. Anyways, beginning of episode 4.
I believe episode 3 was called Hair of the Dog or something like that.
Lovely day for it. Right is right. Right is right.
I believe book episode 3 was called Hair of the Dog or something like that.
Okay, well we'll talk about that at the end. We gotta do this. Well, why not wait for the end? You can give more information. Anyways, episode 4 starts with a woman coming to Harry's place, and there's like a speak over of like, oh, attraction is a fickle thing. There's how do we know what's being attractive and what's not being attractive? Blah blah blah. Anyways,
I didn't mean to distract you.
So this woman is looking for a person called Donald Princo, and she's like Primco with an F. She's looking for Donald Primco, and she's like, I need to find this guy. He stole like $22,000 from me. Like we had like a night together, and he just left, and he stole my money, and I want you to find him for me. And Harry asked her, "Did you go to the police?" She's like, "No, I don't really trust the police. I just went right to you because it was weird." He's like, "All right, cool. I'll do it for some cash." And then he asked her, "Is like, do you have anything of him that has any of his like DNA or hair?" And she's like, "Yes, I brought a toothpick." And it's like, okay, she knows about magic. And he takes a toothpick, casts a spell. I think it was like boiling something, and he dips it in there with a crystal, and he's able to track um, where this guy is. And he walks into a warehouse, and he finds a recently dead body that's still smoldering from a giant fire blast or something like that, because he's burnt to a crisp. It's pretty brutal, and that's the start of the episode. Isn't that fun? We are then after the, you know, kind of not the credits, but they
Opening credits.
opening credits. Thank you. Roll. We find Morgan there, and because it's a dead person that was burned with, obviously not a human could do this. Um, Morgan from the quote High Council, which is not High Council, but for now it's the High Council, I guess. We're introduced to Morgan, and he's a black guy, and he's like, I'm gonna figure out who did this. And he doesn't like Harry for reasons that they don't really explain in this episode. Um, but they do discover
we could just say they have some history.
Yes, they definitely have a history. Um, well, in the body, they're kind of looking over the body, seeing what happened, and they do notice that there was a flower brand on the person's hand that wasn't burned away, which is really strange. They found it and they're like, "This is weird. Why would he have this? This doesn't make any sense. And why was he burned?" Um, and then that's when Karen Murphy and the police come, and he's like, "Oh, hello! I was on a case. I had nothing to do with this burned body. Ha ha ha! Don't arrest me, please." Um, and let's see. We find out. Murphy's asking for the name of his client, and he doesn't want to ask. And she's like, "Well, I will put you in jail." I think that's what she said. "I'll put you in jail if you don't tell me the name because you're impeding an official investigation." He's like, "Fine." So he says the name of this lady, but immediately we find out that it's a fake name that she gave. Um, let's see. And then a man with fire powers wants a chain. Um, so they see, I think his name was Sirota. He came to the woman's apartment looking for a chain or whatever, and he's like, "You have it. I know you have it." So here it's Harry and Murphy. Harry and Murphy go in there, and they start fighting this guy, and he has like fire powers. He's like fire blasting everything, and it's like, what the heck is happening? Um, and Murphy comes out with a pistol and starts shooting him with all her bullets, and he just jumps out the window and just disappears. And they're like, okay, that's weird. And then the girl comes back home, and they're like, what is happening? She tries to run away, but they stop her. Oh, they stop her. Um, and they find out that Karen is really scared. Well, no shit, Sherlock. She's scared of this guy who came into her apartment, and they're asking about like, what is this chain? Like, do you have the chain? And she keeps her mouth shut, basically. Um, and then Murphy and Harry are talking to, I think it's like another police officer or whatever, and he mentions that like, yeah, that temperature for how crispy that guy was, that was over 900 degrees. That's insane. Like, I don't know what was used to kill this guy, but it was 900 degrees. It was an inferno, basically. And this is the security cam feeling. Got it. So then Harry gets to interview um, Karen. Now it's interviewing Karen. Ha ha ha. I am being correct, I think. Interviews Karen, and he asked her like about the chain, about this person, but he, as he's interviewing her, he walks next to the security camera and it goes on the fritz because that's what happens when he goes near electronics. Um, so they have this um, interview and
By the way, they go on the fritz because
I think Harry casts a spell.
just in general, wizards and machines don't go well together.
Yeah, which is why he has a crappy car.
Because of his, he has like a magical field around him that interferes with it.
Yeah.
At all times.
And then they talk about this chain thing, and
Goes more in depth in the books about it. But.
let's see. And then something about Matthew. Oh, this guy named Matthew Jacobs had his fingerprints all over the apartment. So they're like, "Huh, that's weird. We don't think that's the dead guy. Maybe he's like a boyfriend or something like that, or maybe he was like a thief. She's with him or something like that, and they don't know who it is." Um, so they go back to the morgue, and they discovered that the corpse of this person wasn't a human. It was a Hellion.
Yep, Hellion.
So it's Hellion is like a demon or devil or something like that. And they're like, oh, well, that's surprising. Um, which was what the twist? Oh, it's not human. Oh man. And why was this thing killed? So another Hellion killed this non-human thing, but that doesn't make any sense. Um, and they discovered the dead body was actually Primko. The and Primko was one of Sorota's recruits. Um, so they learned this by going. Harry asked Morgan if I need to speak to Sorota. He has information that I need. So they go to him and he's like, oh, hello, welcome to my place. Would you like a version? And Harry's like, no thanks, I'm fine. I was like, all right. He's a devil himself. Um, so Primko was one of Sorota's recruits, and Sorota is looking for this chain because what happens with these chains is any recruits he has a chain, and it's like a magical conductor or whatever, symbolizing that you are mine, basically. And if the chain is broken, then you could be free. But as long as the chain stays intact, he has a servant, basically. Um, and we find out that people who do this, like, they get slowly become corrupted, and he gives them more and more power, but now they're slaves to him. Anyways, Grim Crow was the corpse, yep, and then Harry saw Sorota, I mentioned that, and they mentioned that Sorota also mentioned that Matthew Jacobs betrayed him, and that Matthew Jacobs is still alive, and Matthew Jacobs is a Hellion. And they're like, oh, well, that's weird. Then why were all his prints over the apartment? So he's with this girl and Matthew Jacobs are working together? That's really weird. Yep, they betrayed Sorota and killed Primko. Yep. I was really confused at this point, so I just wrote confusing. And then Harry is on a mission now to get the chain. He's trying to look for the chain. And he gets hired by Sorota, or they don't. He's not hired. They make a deal that if Harry finds the chain and brings it back to Sorota, then the girl Karen can be free and unharmed because he's trying to save her life basically. He doesn't have all the information yet. So they made a deal with the devil. They mentioned. They learned that Jacobs and Karen were both in the apartment, like living together, basically. Um, Oh, right. So Harry went to their apartment or whatever, or maybe it was their basement. I forget where they were, but he saw um, a circle in the living room basically, and there was a triangle inside, and then there was a flower, and then there was water and a balloon, and he's like, "Huh, what is this for? This doesn't make any sense." And then Karen walks in the room, and then Matthew Jacobs walks into the room. He's just like, "Oh, what are you trying to do with this? Trying to summon some demons? I'm pretty sure I know that you're a Helion. What are you trying to do?" They're like, "No, please don't. We don't want you to interfere." And uh, so as they're talking, he grabs Karen, puts her behind him, and then she knocks him out with a vase or a wine bottle or whatever. And so he wakes up, he gets his head hit, and he's talking. He's in his own apartment talking to Bob, and Bob is like, "Well, isn't it weird that they didn't kill you if they were like evil and stuff like that? Why didn't they kill you?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're right." And he's looking at the thing is like maybe he's trying to reverse something, trying to break the chain or whatever. Um, but the thing is, so I think it's Harry and Bob um, bring out a map of Chicago or the area that they're in, and they like, okay, this is Karen and Matthew's apartment, and then he draws a line as to, okay, this is where Primco was killed, and it's basically a straight line. And if Primco stole this chain, which is why Karen was trying to look for Primco, he stole the chain from them, um, and he had to stash it somewhere quickly because he was being pursued by Matthew. So they look at the map and they see a cathedral. I forget what the cathedral's name was, like Cathedral of the Saint Rose or something like that. And they're like, oh, that would be a convenient place to hide something, I guess. Only place that's really open that will let strangers in. Um, so Harry goes to the cathedral. He starts. He touches the handle of the door, and you notice on the handle is a flower. And he's like, "That looks very familiar." So this Primco was definitely here, and because he's a Helion, if he touches something holy or something perceived holy, it'll burn his skin, and that's what happened. So he walks inside. He's like, "Oh, hello, nun. I am here to look for something." And she's like, "Oh, are you here for this?" She pulls out this like, it's about a foot long, maybe a foot and a half long, like a beaded chain, but there wasn't chains. It was held together with uh, thick rope, and they were more like crystals, yellow, kind of yellowish crystals. Um, with a tint of yellow, I guess. And he's like, "Oh yes, that is my thing." And then the nun gave him nun wisdom, and so basically he finds the chain, which is great. He's like, "Oh great, now I can give it to Sirota, and I can free the girl." Um, However, first of all, he goes back to his apartment, and he's talking to Bob. He's just like, "Yeah, I gave it to Sirota," and Bob says, "Oh, are you sure you wanted to do that? That's like completing the deal." He's like, "Yep, I did it." And he kind of tricks Bob into saying, "Well, I guess, I mean, you could have like summoned him here and talked to him about it." He's like, "Oh, thanks, Bob, for the information." And he pulls out the chain. So he kind of tricks Bob into believing that he actually went to Sirota. But they actually have a circle, and they summon with a chain. They summon Matthew into his apartment, and he's stuck in the thing, and Harry's asking him questions like, "Hey, what do you tend to do? with that circle. Um, like who is Karen to you? And so he explains that like, yeah, I'm a Helion, but I met this girl and I was gonna sell her soul to Sorota, but she changed my life, and now they're in love, and he just wants to be human again, and he wants to escape with her. And it's like, oh shit. So they start a ritual, and they're doing the ritual, and Harry has to say some nice things like, I hope you do this right. I hope you live your lives greatly and don't screw it up. And they have the circle with the triangle in it with the rose, which represents Earth, water, which represents water, and then air,
Basically,
balloon.
all the elements.
Yep, the elements. And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're free now," and the chain is broken, and slowly the beast inside of him leaves him, and that was kind of a traumatic thing, I guess. Um, and then Sirota comes in, and he is led by Morgan, who's like, who comes in, punches not Billy Butcher. I'm watching. I'm looking at Jim Butcher. That's throwing me off. He punches Harry Dresden in the face. Is like, this is for your own good. Like, we need to make sure that Sirota is satisfied. We need to keep the peace, kind of thing. And um, Sorota's like, this is gonna hurt a lot, and he takes a ring and does a fire blast at Matthew, and he's like, oh, I'm dying, oh, and Dresden is just consoles Karen at this point. He's like, oh, don't worry. He's like, you're a horrible person for doing this, Morgan. Why would you do this? And Sorota's satisfied, and he leaves, and then we find out that it was actually Bob who was imitating Matthew. Um, and so now Sorota thinks that he's dead, and he's not going to come looking for them at all. So that was kind of a twist that I did not see coming, and I loved it. It was great. It was wonderful. And so they both, in the end, they both live, and there was an actual happy ending at the end of this episode, and they both want to go live their lives. Um, and then at the end, Harry gets uh, what's her name, Murphy Pie, and he's like, you don't have to worry about them anymore. You don't have to worry about all these problems. Just take my word for it. Here, have some pie. And she's like, this is my job, Harry.
And they go out for food.
No, Harry just leaves. He brought pie to her. And she's
that
like,
must have been the last episode.
Yeah, no, Murphy offered to buy him dinner or something, yep. And then he's like, oh, rain check. Because he had something else to do. He was protecting a woman. So, it's obvious that they're in love too. There's a little tension, like, oh, maybe I'm interested in you. Oh my god, I don't know what to think. Oh my god.
That's apparently one of the things I have an issue with. Just because.
Sorry, folks, just need to get up and stretch my legs.
There is some romance that doesn't happen until about 8 books after the show came out. And so premature.
So was there anything that you wanted to talk about that was different from the books?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Morgan. Let's talk about Morgan.
I like the actor choice for Morgan, other than he isn't supposed to be black.
Yeah.
They got the personality perfect.
Yeah, I just didn't like that. I was expecting a 6'8" Norwegian-looking man who was grumpy all the time with long white hair. That's what I was expecting, and I wanted that. And I was like, all right, I guess they got someone else to do it. Luckily, Derp is pulling up the image right now of
this is what he's supposed to look like in the book.
I thought he had whiter hair. I thought it was all white. Well, I'm disappointed because I expected him to be even meaner looking, and more, I expected his hair to be super solid white, and then to have super white skin. like albino white. You know, that's what I think. That's what I imagine when reading the books or listening to them. But that's my imagination. But
There,
he's definitely like 6 foot whatever, and super mean looking, and frickin' hates Harry Dresden.
for
So that's
reasons
different.
that you find out in the first, they're kind of explained in the first book, but it's not for fully explained for a while. Um, other changes are magic circles don't need to represent all the elements. They just
I think
basically
I think they just made the show for people who didn't read the books.
because
So
magic circles are basically just circle, pentagram, and some symbols, and magical will. Then
yeah,
boom.
I'm sure they had like TV people like, oh no, we can't piss off the religious people. If there's a pentagram, people are gonna yell at us. Yeah,
And
shut up and stick to the story. There's evil that happens in this universe. Get over it.
I blame Nicolas Cage because he is executive producer.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I forgot to write that in the notes. I was like, Nicolas Cage, what the hell?
He is the full reason why in the movie Sorcerer's Apprentice why he looks like Harry Dresden is because he was protesting the cancellation of the show. He
Nicolas Cage was.
Yeah,
Oh
because his movie Sorcerer's Apprentice,
yeah.
he took the exact costume wardrobe of Harry Dresden for that movie. That's
Oh
why,
okay.
because he was protesting the cancellation.
Oh, when did that come out? Like 2008, 2009
Yeah,
or something?
something like that.
Oh, okay, just right after. It's like stupid.
And
I'm
ne-
Nick Cage. Oh, the bees! The
uh,
bees! Not the bees! Oh!
one of the most annoying changes for me was Harry doesn't use wands.
Did he?
Yeah, he when they first encounter when he and Connie
That was
went.
a drum
Yeah,
stick.
but it was meant like a wand.
Oh, I thought he just randomly had that.
No,
I didn't know. I didn't
it
know
was
he was
meant as
using.
his magical weapon.
Well, it's gone now because the fire guy destroyed his magic wand, I guess, which is a drumstick. Oh my
Because
god.
in the books he
Yeah, he
uses
doesn't have.
battle staffs and battle
He has his bracelet.
rods.
They in the first 2 episodes they're like, oh, look at the shield bracelet. But then in these last 2 episodes there was no him holding up a shield bracelet like at all. I noticed.
And he also has the silver pentagram necklace that was given to him by his mom.
Yeah, he doesn't have it.
That's not in the show.
Yeah, so that's different.
Because that has a huge part with the story is the necklace.
It's like, yeah, I think they should remake this series like now, like they could make a Netflix deal. Like look at I mean, recently there's been like good adaptations. Like One Piece was a good adaptation, and then
The boys.
The Boys, and then the Fallout series that just came out. That was a fantastic adaptation. Like directors and producers are slowly learning to not piss off the fans. Like, don't make it bad. Make it what the fans want.
If you think it gets worse with the actual episode that has to do with the one book.
Oh, okay.
Because
There's
they
because it pisses me off that you know how they have like PG-13. They'll like, oh, if you make a PG-13, then kids can watch this. Like for example, like the Hunger Games, when the you know children are dying in the book, and they just any person who dies, you're like I understand you're not supposed to show a kid dying, but at the same time, it's like, okay, just make it rated R, and have some kids die. Like that's the whole point of this book, and it's popular because it's in depth and like a real thing, and it's a tragic thing. And if you don't show it, well, you're not gonna get your point across of like this is bad. It's just like, oh, they just died easily, you know.
That's where the Battle Royale movie did it better.
Yeah, Battle Royale was awesome. I've only seen that once, and that was like years ago, and that was way better than the movies
It's
of the Hunger Games.
it's one of my favorite movies.
However, the books of Hunger Games was really good.
And the book of Battle Royale is even better than the movie.
I didn't know there was a book of Battle Royale.
It was originally a book, yeah. The book came out before even Hunger Games was written.
Oh yeah,
But the movie came out after Hunger Games book came out.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because the movie was like late or mid 2000s.
When did the first book come out then?
For Hunger Games?
Because I remember watching it in, I think it was in high school I watched it.
Or Battle Royale, you mean?
Oh yeah, Battle Royale.
First Hunger Games came out in 2008.
Or maybe I was in college. Yeah, that makes sense. I was probably in college when I watched that.
I watched it back in high school myself.
When did Battle Royale come out?
2000.
Oh, 2000. Oh, then yeah, I definitely heard about it in high school. So we're old fucks. So we've seen a lot.
And the movie came out. Let's see.
In 2000, yes, in 2000 I was alive. So suck it, Gen A's.
Or no, this was
Gen Z's.
Yeah, this was the movie. When did the book come out? That's what I meant to ask.
Yeah, if you remember life before 9/11, then you have a different perspective on life than if you remember stuff after 9/11. Anyways.
No, that's when it was translated. 2000 or 1999 is when the book came out.
Okay. Battle Royale.
If you haven't seen it and you thought Hunger Games was too much for kids, watch it.
I hope you enjoyed our rant at the end. After I'm sure our rant was more entertaining than the review itself, because there's a lot of and ums, because we're still like, working out the kinks of how we want to do our show.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I guess, we have a show. Whoa, wow. We got a microphone. I think what we need is like a second microphone, and just like more than one camera. So if we do have like an editor, it can go back and forth between the people talking. But that's only if we start getting people. So we gotta, you start small, and you work your way up. We just gotta do some grinding. Some grinding.
I need a new
grinding.
I need a new full-time job before any of that.
Need more money.
And,
well, I got you that card shuffler. So that should help.
But,
I bought him a card shuffler because he has too many cards for Cards Against Humanity, and it's a bitch shuffling all those cards. So we'll have a machine do it. Except I looked at the bottom. I think it's 4D batteries. And I was just like, oh no, I didn't. I just clicked on like the first one I saw. So I was like, yeah, this should be good. It was like $20, so I was like, whatever. Here, you need this. You need this more than me.
That was our review of Dresden Files, episode 3 and 4. Episode 3 was called Hair of the Dog. Episode 4 is called Rules of Engagement. I think that's what I looked it up.
Sure.
But,
I'm sure it was called that.
Next week we will review episodes 5 and 6. But first we'll have Pokemon D&D tomorrow night, and Thursday we'll review. What?
Oh, I'm doing a thing for the camera.
we'll review The Boys Season 4 finale.
Oh my god! 2 episodes! Ah! Yeah, join us for Pokemon D&D. And on Thursday, we're doing The Boys. So, if you want to watch The Boys and then watch the review, or like leave a comment saying like, hey, I like this, leave a comment.
And
Get a like if you want.
Please,
or subscribe.
Please like, subscribe, comment what we should do next. Starting next week, since there's no boys, we'll probably start watching and reviewing a movie a week.
Yeah, we'll watch the crappiest movies like
recommend some movies.
Human Centipede. Yeah.
We'll probably start off doing movies neither of us have seen.
Hey, Human Centipede is good, clean, family fun. Recommend it.
Didn't we already watch it with the boys?
They didn't have it. Or were they watching it in an episode?
No, that was the cloning guy.
Oh God, pink eye. Yep. Don't get pink eye, ladies and gentlemen. Don't do that. As I'm touching my eye. All right, cool. That was our review.
Like and subscribe, comment. Also, if you like it and like my other content, please become a member. Still working on the perks, but those should be up soon.
Yeah, if you want to. We got to make the perks like super good to incentivize you guys to do it.
But
like Jake will sing a lullaby to you at night. I mean, Derp will.
And I did make it so members are called basement dwellers.
That's right. Because that's where we live, in the basement. Oh, I'm not in the screen. I should be in the screen.
See everybody tomorrow for Pokemon D&D and Thursday for the boys.
Let's fucking end this. I'm Steenerd, and that's...
Derp.